Back to the Infowars Money Bomb 2015. I'm Joe Biggs, your host, and sitting here joining me right now, Darren McBreen. Now, he is the man, the myth, the voice behind most of the ads and commercials that we do. He is one of our lead guys behind a lot of the video editing you see, stand-up guy, one of my best friends here in Texas since I've moved here. Now, we're going to have a special guest coming up here in a little bit, but what I want to do before we go to that is talk about some of the things that we're trying to do with this money bomb. Now, right now, we're about halfway to reaching our goal, $1 million to reach $400 million. Now, this is going to give us the opportunity to reach more people globally. You know, a lot of people, when they go home, they turn on the TV, they see CNN, then they flip the channel, they don't like that. They go to Fox, they're like, oh, well, I don't really like this. Then they go to MSNBC and they see Rachel Maddow, and their minds explode. What they're waiting on is something like this, Infowars.com, to be there, and that's what we're trying to do. Your money is going to help us get to that point. Your donations, it's going to help us explode as far as reaching the people we need to. So what I want to do first and foremost is thank each and every single one of you, the listeners, who have been supporting us up into this point. Alex Jones has been working his butt off for years to get to this point, and now we're finally here so we can take it to the next level and launch this. So what we have are a lot of great items up at the store for auction. We've got a guitar that's signed by all the people in the entire crew at Infowars, from Alex Jones down to the janitor, basically. We've got skateboards. We've got all this stuff, amazing items. Now, if you don't want to go to eBay and buy any of the auction items, you can actually go to Infowars.com. You can find the button on there and go to the Money Bomb section, and you can donate money. And or you can go to the Infowars Life store and you can purchase products as well. That's going to help. Now, on top of that, I got some really great news earlier today. Lee Queen, the owner of Head Down Rifles, contacted me, and from 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time today until the Money Bomb stops tomorrow, he will be giving 5% of those proceeds that he gets to us to help us reach the next goal that we need. And also, I want to go ahead and show you guys, I have this rifle. It is a brand new, one-of-a-kind rifle by Head Down. Now, this is the Triton 10. Looks good, right? Mm-hmm. Darren, what do you think about this?
I like it, man. That's
one you?
I sure.
Hey, this is what we're all about at Infowars. First Amendment, Second Amendment, the Constitution, going out and supporting this. When you get a Head Down rifle, you support America. You support the Second Amendment. You support the Infowar. Now, this is a one-of-a-kind, custom paint job. AR-15. It's got myself and Alex Jones' signature on it as well. So at this point in time, if you donate $1,000 or more, you're automatically entered for a chance to get this rifle. And tomorrow, at the very end of the Money Bomb, we will basically put all the names in a hat, reach out, grab a name, and you will be the lucky owner of this Head Down Triton 10. So I think it's really awesome what's been going here. I've been blessed to be a part of this operation. I've been here for about a year and a half now. 10, 12 years ago, if you had asked me, hey, where are you going to be at, Joe Biggs, in 12 years? Never would I thought I'd be sitting here in the exact same seat where Alex Jones has been broadcasting from for a long time. I mean, how's your experience been here so far, Darren?
Well, it's been awesome. It's been about 4 years, over 4 years now, but this is where it all started. This is the original studio. As you know, we've expanded now. We've got a studio, a much larger studio, but what do you think about it? Infowars, we are arguably the #1 alternative news media outlet in the world right now. And but unfortunately, there's a lot of TV heads out there that won't take us serious unless they see us on their television sets. And that's why it is vitally important that we get on satellite television. That way we can go toe-to-toe with the mainstream news media. That's when the gloves come off, man. I mean, we'll be going toe-to-toe, and then we'll show them how journalism really is supposed to be.
Exactly. I mean, we have great graphics. We have great crew here. I mean, we go out. We go in, we put ourselves in front of the bullets. Jakari Jackson and I out there in Ferguson. You know, you got Josh Owens. He's going out there on the border with me. Leanne McAdoo, Jakari Jackson, everybody doing a fantastic job. All the guys back here right now running the show do an outstanding job when we do this, because what we want to do is bring you the truth on a daily basis. Now, if you're listening right now and you'd like to call in, before we go to our guests, I'm going to have Darren introduce in just a minute. Call in. The number is 512-646 1776. This will give you the opportunity to speak to myself, Darren McBreen, and our guest. Also, if you'd like to donate, please call 888-253-3139. And that'll get you over there where I think David Knight's possibly over there.
Yeah, he's still over
calls.
there.
Yeah, David Knight's over there. Rob Dew was over there doing one hell of a job earlier. I mean, just on the phone. I'm not really a phone guy.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of people earlier, too. So very, very cool people calling up. And it's hard to get off the phone with them, too, because they're so interesting.
Well, but it's always cool, though, because, you know, you don't get a chance to speak to a lot of these people. Yeah. We're sitting here staring into this camera, and we have no idea the reach that we have and the lives you can affect. And it's cool to be able to talk to people and hear them, you know, go, hey, man, this has really been awesome. Like what you guys did. Appreciate the hard work. And it means a lot to me when you know that you pretty much put your sweat and blood, everything into it.
And hey, we get a lot of our news stories and ideas from these guys.
Oh, exactly. We definitely say on the show tips. So anytime you have any kind of tip on a story, go to show tips or showtips at Infowars.com. That'll come to us. We'll be able to basically try and answer your questions. And if you have a certain person you wanted to go to, put attention, Darren McBreen, Joe Biggs, Rob Dew, Leanne McAdoo, so forth and so on. And that way, when we go through there and we see the thousands a day, we can find those and go to that as well.
Right.
So we've got a special guest, and
he's a very dangerous man.
This is someone that you speak to on a weekly basis, maybe.
Yeah, we're good friends.
So go ahead and introduce our guest.
Well, the reason why I say he's a dangerous man, I personally don't think he's dangerous, but the federal government certainly does. And that's because of his ability to unite people of all color. And we've even got proof from his official FBI profile that says he's dangerous for that reason. And, of course, I'm talking about Larry Pinckney, and he is a member of the original Black Panther Party, also a victim of COINTELPRO, a political prisoner for 10-plus years. And he joins us now from the land of Mordor. And, Marcos, I'll read that in a second, but first let's get Larry on. Larry, welcome to the Infowars Money Bomb. It's good to have you.
Brother, this is fantastic, and I want to also extend my kudos to Brother Joe sitting there with you. But what can I say? Let's rock and roll.
That's it. I'm ready to rock and roll, too. But before we get started, I want to read the FBI profile they have on you, and we obtained this from the Freedom of Information Act. This is what it says about our guest, Larry Pinckney. Pinckney is potentially dangerous due to his demonstrated ability to unify black and white. His associates are Negro, white, and Chinese. Special attention is being given to neutralizing him, COINTELPRO. The areas of sex and drugs appear to be the most effective ones to utilize. His habits in this area are unknown, but are being monitored with this objective. Wow. So that shows you are a very dangerous man. Now, this was back during the Civil Rights Movement, but Larry, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
That's right. That's absolutely correct. And what we really need to understand is, well, I like it. You summed it up, Darren. You know, my brother, you said it. The more things change, the more they stay the same, if we allow them to be that way. And the reality is, COINTELPRO never died. The counterintelligence program never died. It still goes on, whether it's under NDAA, the Patriot Act, whatever you want, whatever name someone wants to put on it. The reality is that, in fact, in this 21st century, in the year 2015, it is far worse. I repeat, far worse than ever before. And we need, I'm not saying this to make anybody paranoid. No, this is not about being paranoid. Just be aware. You know, stop going for the ghost. Let's understand that this is not a government of, by, and for the people. This is a government of, by, and for the global elite and the corporations.
That's right.
All right? So I just had to inject that.
Well, that's right. And the government does not want to unite us. They want to divide us. And this is something that.
Well, you can see that with this whole Black Lives Matter thing. All it's done is divided the people here in America. You know, when I speak to a lot of my a lot of my friends, we would sit there and go, I didn't even know there was racism between, you and I. Now I have to specify, my black friend or, my white friend. It used to just be, hey, my buddy, Apollo. Apollo is one of my great friends that I grew up with. We DJ together in clubs, and now we have to specify stuff. And then if you bring up the white, the black, then you're racist. So there's really this huge division, and the Obama administration's definitely been behind that. They haven't denied it in any kind of way, and they're pushing this racist agenda forward. And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the bottom line is this. How can Black lives matter if all lives don't matter?
Amen.
I mean, let's be honest. Stop shucking and jiving. How can Black lives matter if all lives don't matter? Okay? The lives of my black, white, brown, red, and yellow brothers and sisters all matter. The name of the game is to divide, to control, to manipulate. So, and let's remember, just a couple of weeks ago, the so-called leadership of Black Lives Matter sat down with who? Hillary the Butcher Clinton. Come on, let's get real. And we need to understand that we, everyday, ordinary, black, white, brown, red, and yellow people, we are the only ones together, collectively, who are going to bring about effective systemic change. Only us. We need to get off the plantation. That's right, I said plantation. We need to get off the plantation because that's where the Democrats and the Republicans have us. They have us on the plantation. It's time, as Thomas Jefferson said, for a revolution. He said, to quote him, every generation needs a new revolution.
That's right. We're long overdue.
Well, I've always been interested in the fact how the Democrat Party is the one who essentially holds African Americans down in a sense, essentially tries to screw them over more than anybody else, and yet they kind of get suckered into continuously voting for that same thing. It's like invisible handcuffs in a sense, the fact that they keep going in that direction. I mean, what do you think about that, Larry?
Well, let me put it this way, Joe, that my brother, is that it's all about taking, and I'm going to address this directly. The Democratic Party, Malcolm X referred to the Democrats as the foxes and the Republicans as the wolves. Now, who's more dangerous? Well, the fox is pretty dangerous, perhaps even more so, because one does not recognize, that's why it's called a fox. It's like going in the hen house. Mm-hmm. The hens have all been eaten and asking the fox who ate the chickens, right? And the fox rubs his stomach and says, I don't know, as he licks his lips. That's the Democratic Party, the so-called Party of Democrats. And we need to understand that Black Americans have been bamboozled, again, to use an expression from Brother Malcolm, for years and years and years, decades and decades. This drone man, Mr. Hope and Change, Barack Obama, was their latest missile, if you will. Look at what he's done. I'll tell you what he's done. The conditions economically for Black people, and quite frankly, people of all colors, but let's deal with Black people right now, are worse now than virtually any time in in this century, actually. Not virtually. This is the 21st century. I mean, we need to be honest. We are in a situation, all of us, black, white, brown, red, and yellow, where we have to be honest, first with ourselves and then with each other. So what I think about it, Joe, is that it's time to I'll go back to what I said before. It is time to get the hell off the plantation. That's right. All of us, black, white, brown, red, yellow folks, they keep us on the plantation. And the Democrats, in particular, are famous for that. I think that, my brother Darren and I have talked a little bit about Lyndon Johnson and what Lyndon Johnson had to say. Darren, you might want to elaborate on that. I don't know.
Well, Lyndon Johnson was infamously known for saying that he'll have those N-words voting Democrat for the next, 100 years, I think was the quote.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we need to understand that as long as we allow ourselves to be duped, and that's what we're doing, we allow ourselves to be duped. When I wrote years and years ago, and I tried to warn people about this Barack Obama creature, they said, "Oh, no, you don't understand. He's black." That's what they said, right? And I said, "You don't understand because you're acting like a damn fool. You need to pay attention to what a person is about." As Dr. King said, it's about character, not color. It's about character, not color. So,
we have that happening all over again right now. We have that same thing happening now with Hillary Clinton. You have these feminists. You have these women coming out and going, well, just because she's a female, they're going to vote for and completely ignore all the horrible things she's done. Like you said, you called her the butcher earlier. She is pretty much, I think, one of the most evil human beings out there. But people are going to look past that. And the fact that she's a woman, we just had the first black president. Now we have to move to have the first woman president so we can progress on and to completely ignore who she is as a person, which is what we should be paying attention to. Not what she looks like, not what genitalia she has, but who she is, her character, or lack thereof.
That's right. That's right. And the fact is that irrespective of her, I like the way you put that, genitalia, irrespective of what her gender may be, the reality is that she's Bloody Mary all over again. That's why I refer to her deliberately as Hillary the Butcher Clinton, because she's a butcher. And let's understand that. Because she's a woman, she's going to bomb people lovingly? She's going to kill people gently? Dead is dead. Let's be real. And Albert Einstein, I believe it was, said, I believe his quote, and I'm paraphrasing it, but he indicated that when we people, everyday people, when we people constantly repeat the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result, that's insanity. That is insane. That is absolute madness. It is time for we the people, black, white, brown, red, and yellow people in this country, to wake the heck up and understand that we need a real change. Get off the plantation. Democrat, Republican, get off the plantation.
So do you think that racism is more prevalent now, or was it then back when you joined the Black Panther Party? Or does it seem like there's more racism now due to the fact of social media, the fact that everybody can share videos and the mainstream media uses that to help anger people? Because for some reason we have this youth who have this sense of entitlement, so to say, that they feel like they should be given everything and not work hard and try to ignore stupid, petty things. They just want to be given things. I've talked to a lot of my friends who, are older black guys, and they tell me, like, they'll say, hey, the fact that you and I are sitting at a bar right now having a drink and no one's bothering us shows you that we progress in the U.S. He says the fact that when I was a younger guy, I wouldn't be able to do something like that shows that we have progressed. But for some reason, you have this young, angry group now that really I just don't get. I've grown up around people of every color, and I've never really had...
Well, it seems like there's a resurgence of racism right now, and I think that's because a lot of people are being programmed and they're being pushed into believing or becoming racist through groups like the Black Lives Matter. Or Larry, tell us about the difference between the original Black Panther Party and the agent provocateur new Black Panthers, who I think they're nothing more than agent provocateurs who are meant to destabilize the nation, and they're basically out there to to basically get everybody angry at each other and divide and conquer.
Well, the so-called new Black Panthers, and you notice I said so-called.
Yeah.
First of all, there's no such thing as the new Black Panthers. They are, in the words of another veteran of the original Black Panther Party, Albert Howard, they are thugs and reactionaries. Now, why are they allowed to get away with this? Well, I mean, common sense tells us that, when I say this, by the way, why are they allowed to engage in inciting and provocative actions that are negatively provocative? It's one thing to be provocative in a positive way, but these folks are all about how can we, move against whitey. You dig? Yeah. And this is unacceptable. The veterans of the original Black Panther Party, we see this, we know what they're about, and I think people outside of that realm see it and know what they're about. But we have to ask ourselves, why is this being allowed? Who's behind this? Why is this being allowed? You don't see any kind of, serious repression coming down upon them. Well, why not? Because they don't have any programs, national programs, national breakfast programs to serve the people, national medical programs to serve the people, national programs, healthcare programs, etc., clothing programs to serve the people. No, because that's not their aim.
And that was to serve the people of all color, right, Larry?
People of all color. Right.
Yep.
And excuse me for coughing here, but I get a little bit intense about this because I see this happening again and again, and I see folks like them coming along and whipping up hysteria. Look, let me be clear. Of course there's racism in the United States. Hell, there's racism all over the world.
Exactly.
Okay? But let us not sit back and pretend. And Joe, I think earlier you had said something I wanted to address very quickly. And that is, you see, young people, including Black young people, do not study their history. They act like history began when their posteriors were born. Well, I'm sorry, that's not when history began. And when it comes to racism, which is real, okay, but when it comes to racism, let us understand that the struggle against racism has been waged for years and years and years, not only by Black people, but by white folks, brown folks, yellow folks. And one of my heroes, if you will, is John Brown and his 3 sons who were hung at Harper's Ferry. And John Brown said very clearly, he said, I didn't do this simply, this slave rebellion. I didn't join this. And he was a white man, for any who don't know that. Okay, this slave rebellion, I didn't join this, simply for Black folks. I did it for my own humanity, you dig? And that's what I keep trying to stress to my brothers and sisters, my sisters and brothers of all colors. We got to do this for our own humanity. Let's not get hoodwinked, bamboozled, and sidetracked by these opportunists, agent provocateurs, no matter what they call themselves, reactionaries, okay? We have to understand that what is at stake in this land, in this nation, indeed throughout Mother Earth, but in this land is for all of us. It's all of us together as a collective people or none of us.
That's right. All right, we're going to take some calls in just a second, but before we do that, I want to talk about some of the Money Bomb 2015 specials we have going on right now at Infowars Life. Currently, we have 20% off Survival Shield X2, 20% off of Supermel Vitality, 20% off of Brain Force, 15% off Deep Cleanse, 15% off Secret 12, and last but not least, 15% off Oxy Powder. Now, we'll have free shipping for the continuation of this money bomb. Remember, all this goes to help get us to that $400 million that we want to reach. We're trying to reach $1 million for that to help pay for the satellite costs and all that. So, Larry, how do you feel about taking a few phone calls?
I think it's wonderful. But before I do,
okay,
I want to say to my sisters and brothers, my brothers and sisters out there in the listening audience, you know what? This is urgent. Understand, this is urgent. Infowars means just what it says. It's about information, not propaganda in the negative sense of the word, but it's about information, waking up. So by supporting, and by the way, nobody asked me to say this. Darren and Joe had no idea I was going to say what I'm saying right now. All right? But by supporting Infowars, you know what you're really doing? You're supporting yourself. You're supporting the people. You're supporting what Thomas Jefferson and Malcolm X talked about as the much-needed revolution in this country. That's all I have to say.
All right, so let's take a call from Janine in Minnesota. Janine, are you there? Okay, she's not there right now. So, like I said, all this money is going to help us get to the point we need to. Do what?
He said try it again. I think she got back on.
Oh, okay, Janine in Minnesota, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Would you like to ask a question to Larry Pinckney?
I had a comment for Mr. Pinckney, and I had a comment for Darren.
All right, well, let's go ahead and hear him.
Okay. Mr. Pinckney, thank you for saying what you did. I am so tired of a two-way street racism fight. And I appreciate what you say so much. I grew up near an Air Force base, and I've always had black friends. I see no color difference. People are people. We all bleed red. And Darren, I have been using your Bush ad that I burst out laughing every time I see it.
I know exactly which one you're talking. Maybe we can play it after the next break.
I actually recorded it on my camera because I waited for the nightly news to come around the next hour so I knew where it was. And I've been sending that to everybody I know and then say, go check out Infowars.com. Now, is it okay if I put that video on Facebook?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That helps get the word out even more.
You know, those are a lot of fun. We call those quick clips around here, and we've made quite a few of them, and it's amazing how just a few, 30 seconds to a minute, how much we could inform people on what's really going on without having to go in, a total hour documentary about the evils of Jeb Bush. We could say it in just a few short sentences. So I'm glad you liked it.
Whoever wrote it was a genius, and you voiced it perfectly.
Well, thank you.
Well, thanks, much. Janine. We appreciate it. Now we're going to go to a call in Arizona. Brian has a question about the mainstream media. Brian, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, Brian, we can. You have a question for Larry Pinckney or myself or Darren?
Yeah, I don't know who would be best to answer this. First, I just want to make a comment. I was the one that tweeted earlier that Chris Christie was Krispy Kreme.
Okay, I saw that.
Good job.
Then, my question was, with mainstream media, I know Alex Jones had a woman on his show or interviewed her a while back named Amber Lyon, who was formerly of CNN, and Joe Rogan also had her on his podcast. And I don't remember if she was fired or she quit because she wouldn't say what they wanted her to say because she knew it was lies and all that. So my question is, I don't know who would answer this best, maybe you, Joe, because you've been on the ground with these other reporters and whatnot, but how much, we know that they add truth to their trash, but how much of CNN and Fox and how much do they lie and how do they operate?
All right, well, that's something I can definitely answer, and maybe, Larry, if you have an opinion on that as well. But, yeah, you're right. I do go a lot of these different scenarios all across the country. I've been a lot of the different shootings, riots, and things like that. When someone like myself, Jakari Jackson, get on scene, we actually go out there. We start investigating leads. We get on Twitter, on social media. We try to follow some of the people who already have boots on ground, who are familiar with that area. And we try to start following stuff and come to find the truth about what's going on. And what I've noticed when I go out on the scene of these places, say, for instance, Fox Lake in Chicago, Illinois, where Lieutenant Glenowitz, the police officer who was supposedly shot by, two white males and a black suspect. When I showed up, I was there alone on this trip. When I showed up, CNN, Fox News are all sitting outside the police station. Now, are they going through the neighborhoods like I am with the DEA, ATF, all these people, FBI, going door to door, walking around? No, these guys are stopped. They have their lights set up in front of a cool scenic area where all the memorial stuff's laid out. And they wait for the police department and come out and tell them what to say. Now, I just think that's completely and totally ridiculous. How are you a journalist when you're sitting there and you let the police department tell you what happened instead of going out and getting a rental car like I did and driving around and going through the neighborhoods, walking through the crime scene, not the actual crime scene, but around it and getting a feel for that area, that location, talking to some of the police officers, talking to some of the surrounding businesses. That's what you have to do to find out the truth, and that's what we do at Infowars. We're not scared to go out and get dirty. We're not scared to go in the middle where the bullets are flying. That's what you have to do. And these guys sit back. They read a teleprompter.
They're always corralled in a little corner or whatever.
They're snooty. They sit in some AC.
Regurgitate whatever the
exactly. I mean, that's why when you flip from CNN to Fox News, you hear the exact same thing. Larry, what's been your experience with the mainstream media versus how alternative media such as Infowars handles situations?
The mainstream media is what I very diplomatically refer to as the vomit stream media. And I think you both made reference to the fact that what they do is regurgitate, and that is true. That's why I call it vomit. It's the vomit stream media. So their job, we have to remember, all of us, our brothers, our sisters, we must remember that the job of the so-called mainstream media is not to inform. That's not their job anymore. Their job is to form opinion. It's a big difference between informing, where people are informed and can make their own decisions, versus what? Forming the opinion for the readers or viewers, etc. So whoever said the thing about switching from CNN to Fox News is essentially the same thing. Yes, I have to agree. It is essentially the same thing, which goes back to my original point as to why I say it's time to get off the plantation, brothers and sisters.
I mean, I have an example. When I was in Ferguson, Jakari Jackson and I had just literally been chased about 3 miles outside of where the riots had been going on. Now, I'd already been shot at, pepper sprayed. I wasn't having a great night. I was pretty amped up, though. Adrenaline's pumping. Especially for me now that I've been out of the military, running 3 miles is like, 20 miles. I mean, that was not fun whatsoever. I'm dying. Now, as we're being chased out of here, Rob Dew, it's starting to rain, and my eyes are burning. Me and Jakari are actually crawling in mud, hopping fences, and running through a neighborhood because there's like 4 or 5 cops hanging off of an MRAP chasing us down the road. Rob Dew texted me, and he goes, hey, he's like, CNN's reporting that the police told them that no tear gas has been fired, no flashbangs, no rubber bullets, or anything like that. And I completely lost my mind. I went into Terminator Rambo mode, and I was like Forrest Gump. The braces came off my legs, and I was hauling butt. I was trying to get back out there, and I was looking. And I mean, I'm looking at Jakari. I'm like, man, when I get out there, I'm going to go off on these guys. I'm going to go off on these guys. And I'll never forget, we finally got up there after almost being tased by a police officer. I finally get back out there to where the corralled media is in their free speech zone. And I see CNN and I'm looking around. I was like, where's CNN at? Where's CNN at? I was like, stop lying. What are you doing? Why do you keep lying? I was like, who told you that no tear gas was fired? And the guy's like, well, the police officer came over and said they weren't using it. I was like, of course they're not going to tell you because it says on the canister it's not supposed to be used. NATO put that out. That's why they're not going to say that it's being used.
And they knew you guys were journalists.
Dude, my eyes were swollen up. My blood vessels were bulging out of my eyeballs. I'm surprised I didn't go blind. And I was sitting there screaming at CNN because all they did was sit back and they didn't go out there like they had to do. Me and Jakari, we left behind the crowd media area and actually started going out and reporting and live streaming what was really going on. The fact that there was a lot of police brutality. At that first time back in August, yeah, the police were in the wrong. They were screwing up big time. And the crowd was trying to do what they could to avoid being hit by just random stray projectiles being shot by the police. Now, that was a different situation in November.
Yeah,
but
kind of changed.
But it changed. It shifted. But that's what the mainstream media does. They sit there in their little corralled area. They read whatever the police bring them or whoever it is, whatever talking head, whatever media person that comes out, you know, as a representative for whatever organization and wants to cough out BS and vomit it out.
And I worked for Scripps Howard newspaper for 5 years, and it was the same thing. You know, it was just we talked about whatever was handed down to us. We had no opinion whatsoever. We just had to do, you know, whatever the news items that were fed to us. I mean, we would cover some local stuff if the high school was having a bake sale or something, you know. But other than that, we couldn't really report on anything. But Larry, I just wanted to say, you were talking about how the mainstream media is used to form opinions. You know, the same goes for the motion picture and television industry.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of people out there that they form heavy political opinions without ever even watching the news. And it's amazing how those political opinions are formed. They don't even realize it themselves. But they, through music, television, and even video games, somehow magically they have very strong, at times, political opinions.
And that's what makes it, my brother, so insidious.
Yep.
That's what makes it so dangerous and insidious. You see, and all of us need to understand that we are viewed by the global elite, by the government, as nothing more than laboratories, as rats, as Pavlov's dogs, if you will. And by the way, while I'm thinking of it, let me please extend my greetings and love and strength to Jakari Jackson, to Rob Dew, and to David Knight, as well as the entire crew of Infowars. I really want to get that point across. Love you guys. Love all of you, guys and gals. Keep on doing what you're doing.
Well, right back at you, Larry, because I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people outside right now, the studio, and tuning in. Every time Larry Pinckney's on, everybody gets excited. And when you came down to the studio, you're like a rock star.
All right. Well, thanks, Brian, for your call. We appreciate it. Thanks for calling in and supporting the InfoWar. Now, like I said, this is the Money Bomb. This is the first one we've done in, 3 years?
2 or 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. So it means a lot. It means a lot to see, I had a chance to take some calls earlier today. Darren, you took some calls for a while. Rob, it means a lot to see so many people flood in, call, willing to donate because they see something that they're willing to invest in. They see a product that is true from the roots all the way up to what it's grown into now at this point in time. It's turned out to be a great thing. I feel honored to have a chance to be here, to sit here at this table, to talk to you, Darren, to talk to you, Larry. It's an amazing time in my life. And
we're not sponsored by pharmaceutical companies. We don't run McDonald's ads. I mean,
well, see, that's one of the things, we're not bought out by these corporations. We're not told what to say. We're pretty much given the freedom to go out and investigate things and be actual journalists, which is kind of like a dinosaur term, I feel, almost, when I go out and see these people.
We're a dying breed.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it doesn't die. Hopefully we're able to reach that next level and we don't die off and we can continue to fight the elite. And that's what we're trying to do here at Infowars. Coming up in the next segment at 2 a.m. Central Standard Time, I'm going to have Jakari Jackson in here with me. And then from 3 to 4 a.m., I'm going to have Ryan Smith of Armed Citizens United and Head Down Rifles. And then after that, Schwell and Tack Daddy. These are two guys who do a lot of YouTube videos, pro Second Amendment guys, awesome guys. I've got to hang out with them for a few more times. Now, before we leave this segment, Larry Pinckney, do you have anything else you'd like to add in the next 5 to 6 minutes?
I just want to say this, that we do have the power. When I say we, I mean we, everyday, ordinary, black, white, brown, red, and yellow people. Do not be misled. Do not be fooled, my brothers and sisters. If you don't use it, as we used to say back in the day, you lose it. So the only way that we are going to reverse, and that's what we must do, reverse this insanity, both nationally and throughout Mother Earth, is to use this power, people power. And as we used to say in the original Black Panther Party, not to be confused with the so-called new Black Panther Party, as we used to say in the party, all power to the people, black, white, brown, red, yellow, all power to the people. I love you, Joe. Darren, you know I love you. All power to the people. Thank you for the wonderful opportunity for being able to spend some time with both of you.
Well, awesome. We appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome, Larry. Thanks a lot, man. And,
all right.
And the struggle continues, my friend.
All right, so in a minute, I want to go to a video that we shot. A lot of us had something to do with at South by Southwest, and then I'm going to go to a caller. But I want to get you guys to cue it up. The Donald McRonald video.
Oh, Donald McRonald.
Now, the reason I want to talk about this is show the video before we go into break is because we've made huge leeway in fighting McDonald's in a sense. We've got Food Babe. We're putting out information. We've got Anthony Gucciardi doing stuff, Dr. Group, talking to you about the healthy lifestyle, and McDonald's is definitely not the way to go. So we'll get that video.
I'm sorry to cut you up, but before we go, you're talking about Food Babe. And Food Babe, I first saw her on MSNBC, right? And she was talking about the poisonous ingredients that were in the Subway sandwiches, right, in the bread. And that was on MSNBC. Nothing happened. You know, there was no, I mean, Subway didn't do anything about it. 2 days later, she was on the Alex Jones show. Now, our listeners are activists, okay? They said they had tens of thousands of phone calls and emails, and they were forced to make a public statement after the Food Babe was on the Alex Jones show. And they said that they were going to take that crap out of their bread, so.
All right, well, there you go. Another victory in the info war. All right, we're going to take a call from Philip in Croatia. Apparently, Croatia is being invaded, border closed. Philip, what do you have to tell us?
Good morning, gentlemen. Greetings. Just want to say I've been a listener for almost a decade. Just send you some Bitcoins. I wish I could buy a product on the Infowars store with the Bitcoin. Maybe that's going to be available in the future. Anyways, as you probably know, in the last 24 hours, since yesterday morning, the Hungary has completely closed off its border, and so the tens of thousands of migrants are just pouring in the country right now. We have left our borders completely open. The socialist left-wing government is just worshipping the migrants, giving them free rides to Slovenia and Austria, and it's just crazy. I mean, they're calling the Hungarians racist and Nazis, but because they're doing the same thing, and because they're saying it the way it is. So I just want to address this one issue. And another thing, Europe doesn't have a Second Amendment, and America has that. And I think some of your fellow Americans take that for granted.
Yeah, exactly. They do. I mean, you're completely and totally right.
So when you live in a country where just owning a gun is completely illegal and getting one legally is almost impossible, having something like a Second Amendment is real powerful stuff. And coming from this dictatorship in Europe, so we have you Americans, guys, the patriots. You are the biggest shot we got, because Europe has fallen down. All the laws are written in Brussels and just going down the hill, as you can see.
I mean, you're right. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of people out here who take this for granted. The fact that I can hold this Glock 19 Gen 3 in my hand, I can go to the store and purchase it, to use it to protect myself, my family, my property, to stop someone from stop arson, to stop theft, burglary.
A tyrannical government.
Tyrannical government. I mean, it is amazing the fact that we have that power. People keep saying they don't have any freedoms. They don't have this or that. It's all being stripped away. You do have freedoms. And when you don't use them, that's how they get taken away. So you got to exercise your Second Amendment rights. You've got to, if you live in an area where you can open carry, go do it. If you don't have that ability, do like Michael Cargill does, the guy who owns Central Gun Works down here. He goes out, Central Texas Gun Works. He goes out and fights at Capitol Hill to make sure this kind of stuff is able to happen in Texas. So, Philip, have you seen any of the stuff that's going on in Croatia yourself, or are you just now hearing about it as of the past 24 hours?
They're just pouring in from the border with Serbia, which is just like in the area of about 20 miles. It's like a Hungarian, Serbian, Croatian border. And the Croatian government decided to let them in, just like openly, open the border totally. And they knew they were coming in for days, and they did nothing. And now they're just like giving them free everything, free rides on the buses to Austria or Germany or wherever. They're just paying for everything. And and it's crazy. Most of these people are young males under 25, and they have good-looking clothing and telephones. I mean, I don't have anything against Muslims. Some of my best friends are Muslims in Bosnia, but those are not radical Muslims. Those are secular Muslims. Who are liberal Muslims, and they drink alcohol, they eat pork. But this radical Wahhabi Islam, this is not what Europe. This is what my country, my forefathers fought for the last 500 years.
All right, well, I appreciate your call. That's something we'll definitely keep an eye on and look at. So thank you, Philip from Croatia. Glad you've been a listener for a long time, and I'm glad we're finally able to speak to you and give you the opportunity to talk to us about what's going on. Once again, if you're just now joining us, this is the Infowars Money Bomb 2015. Joe Biggs here with Darren McBreen riding shotgun. We're having a great time. Hope you guys are enjoying this broadcast. If you're watching it, if you're listening to it, we've got a lot of specials going on. I'm going to talk about these. Then we're going to go to the Donald McRonald video. That seems to be a favorite of people. Don't forget, we have free shipping for the next, until the money bomb's over. Look over here. You've got to go to the Infowars store and get this Hillary for Prison 2016 shirt. I have gotten so much positive feedback. I've gotten negative feedback from ignorant feminists who don't understand what it actually means to be a feminist, who actually want to support Hillary, who the Clinton Foundation takes money from Arab countries who treat women like garbage. So that makes a lot of sense.
Believe it or not, wearing this shirt is a good way to pick up on chicks.
There you go.
It's better than a puppy.
Buy the Hillary for Prison 2016 and pick up chicks. So, like I said, we have free shipping for the remainder of the money bomb. We have 20% off Survival Shield X2 Nascent Iodine, 20% off of Supermel Vitality. That's something that I personally take. Boosts up my energy. I get a lot of energy from that. I love it. And I actually feel it within about 5 to 10 minutes, unlike some things. I don't get that jitter that I get from a Red Bull. Also, 20% off Brain Force, 15% off Deep Cleanse, 15% off Secret 12, and 15% off of Oxy Powder if you're trying to do a cleanse and get everything out of there. It actually works really well. You can take it at nighttime or in the morning time like I do. Really depends on you. So without further ado, we're going to go to break, and we're going to show you the Donald McRonald video that we shot at South by Southwest. Let it roll.
Hello, folks. I'm Donald McRonald, Ronald McDonald's ethical twin brother. I came out to the McDonald's concentration camp, tent, to warn South by Southwest goers of the horrible ingredients in their food. Don't eat at McDonald's, ever.
I won't.
McDonald's is bad for you. You too. All you guys, it's bad for you. Hey, McDonald's food sucks. Hey, this is all the horrible stuff in the food. Check it out. Yep, there we go. One more informed American citizen. Take your evil
think of their fries?
It's 19 ingredients for French fries, but if you go to Europe, it's a freaking potato. Why do you need 19 ingredients for French fries? Tell us that, McDonald's. Why do you need 19 ingredients for French fries? It's a potato, and then you stick in some oil and fry it. Hello. Yet all you people are going to walk in there and eat that. That's disgusting. All the ingredients for food are banned in 1900. It's okay to give the food to your kids because there's a free toy inside. You know they label it filler so they can put whatever they want in there, and they don't have to tell you all the poisons. Most of the ingredients in the food at McDonald's in America are banned in 19 other countries. And guess what the source is for us knowing about GMOs in your food? McDonald's.com! Yay! Silicone might be good for your girlfriend or wife, but it's not good when you ingest it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm not loving it. Now, only minutes after arriving, the Austin PD showed up and swarmed around me and issued a citation for protesting with a bullhorn. Let's attack the First Amendment.
Are you with them or not?
No, of course not. They sell bad food.
Do you have your ID real quick?
I have this on. I'm not stripping my thing down. What do you need an ID for?
Can't use amplification.
Okay.
Are you from Texas?
Well, born and raised?
Yeah.
No.
Do you have an ID out of Texas?
No.
What's your given name?
Joe.
What's your last name, Joe?
Biggs. What do you need this for?
B-I-G-G-S?
Yeah, sure.
What's your birthday?
Why do I have to give you that?
Because you're being self-contained for using amplification.
I'm not
Why am I
interfering,
being detained?
but it's a public sidewalk. Can I stand right there?
What's your birthday?
I'm telling you to stand. Thank you.
All the band's playing.
Yeah, they're using a van right now. That's way louder than
You can't. They have permits for that.
Okay, then I have permits to
It's
talk
the city of Austin.
What do you back them using fake food yourself?
I don't back McDonald's.
You don't back McDonald's.
I'm working for the city of Austin.
Exactly. McDonald's is bad.
You cannot use a megaphone.
You can't even hear me. That's so loud. You can't even hear.
They have a permit for that.
It doesn't matter. I'll go over here then.
What's the site title?
You can't even hear me with this van.
How tall do you stand?
No, I'm going this. Hey, don't eat at McDonald's. I was eventually able to make my way into the tent, and I wanted to talk to all the people in there and let them know that what they were eating was bad for them, and then they shouldn't give that kind of stuff to their family and their kids.
Sorry, bad.
Badge only. I've seen a lot of people come in without badges. That's a lie. It's free for the public.
Let's go out here.
But I want one too. Why can't I have one?
Let's go out here.
See, that's discrimination. You guys are, yeah, you guys are racist.
Hey, I don't care what you do as long as we don't block this walkway.
So why do these people get to come in there and I can't?
Because they have identification.
No, they
Let them-
don't.
Let
I've
them
seen
come
5
in.
people walking without them. Sorry, if I get footage of someone without one, I'm coming after you guys. I'm letting
Just
everybody
come
know.
on. Just come on. Just don't block this walkway. Okay?
Yeah, okay. I want a cheeseburger too.
What
Hey,
is
I
it?
know that guy from yesterday. He pushed my guy around.
What did Austin PD tell you?
I can't use this, and I can do whatever else.
Did they give you a ticket for it?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's fine.
Did they tell you that you needed to stay back away
Nope,
from the
they
truck?
just said I couldn't use this, so I'm not using it.
Well, I'm telling you, you cannot block this walkway.
Okay, well, then let me go in line like everyone else is doing.
Just don't
Hey, you
block
didn't
the
have a
walkway.
badge. He doesn't have a badge. She doesn't have a badge. That's a lie. McDonald's lies. I just saw 5 people come out without badges. Wow. We should take this to court. Yay. silicone breast implant fillers in their chicken nuggets?
Like these?
Yeah!
I'm not gonna take this. I appreciate your concern for my health.
Well, can I put it right here?
I don't eat that, no.
Hey, did you guys know that there's yoga mats in the food? McDonald's buns contain a chemical found in yoga mats.
You keep that.
Oh, then you're littering. Hey, don't eat McDonald's food.
I don't eat McDonald's.
Oh, why don't you, come here, tell the camera, why don't you eat McDonald's food?
Because there was something really gross in my chicken nugget one time and almost threw up.
I ate McDonald's last night and I felt like shit all day. Like I felt terrible all day. So that is just gonna stay over there.
So it's not real food?
No!
Not even kind of real?
No!
Wow.
But you get a free toy at the end, so it's okay.
Yeah. Stop giving us fake food.
Honk if you hate McDonald's! Yeah! Check this out! McDonald's is bad!
I hate it. It's amazing. I haven't had it for a year and a half. I'm very proud of that. But I might eat some fries.
We still have a lot more work to do to warn people about what's really in their food that they're eating. We need more Americans to start voting with their dollars and not buy fake GMO food. You need to wake up. Make sure you spread this video like a virus. Info